Hello and welcome. I hope that you are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I am so excited to share this final book of 2023 with you. And it is Winter Tales, Stories from Around the World. It's written by Don Casey and illustrated by Zanna Goldhawk. Lately, I've had so much to do and so little time. So I was quite happy to have chosen this collection of stories for my final read for 2023. There are 18 stories set in winter, and they are all so cozy. The collection has stories from different countries, and under each title, it will tell you what country the story is from. There's also a sources page at the end of the book, which gives you information on exactly where the author got the story and if she's made any adaptations to that story. So on to the stories themselves. There is a mix of well-known stories like The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen and lesser-known stories. They're truly short stories, so you can read this book all in one sitting, or you can read a few stories every night for a week. And it's basically a middle reader book, so you can share stories with your whole family and you will all enjoy them. Whichever way you read them, I am sure you'll love them. It was perfect for me to sit by the window with a warm cocoa soaking in nature from outside and stories about nature and winter. And the illustrations. So each story is accompanied by illustrations, and they are all so gorgeous. That is one of my favorites, and this is another of my favorites. And those illustrations are going to add another level of enjoyment to your reading. So what can you read for a similar experience? And I can go in different ways here, but I am going to focus on stories set in the winter that also have illustrations. And this time around we'll talk about two. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a copy of the books that I'm talking about, so I have a picture of the front cover. And I'm going to first mention one of my favorite stories to read during the holiday season, and that is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I enjoy Charles Dickens books in general, but this was the first story that I read by this author. I read it many years ago when I was in 7th grade. So it is a Dickens story that is approachable for the younger reader too. If you can find a copy with illustrations, all the better. I love the tone of this story. I'm sure you've seen movies of the story, but there's really nothing like reading it. And it's basically a ghost story for Christmas, which to me, it couldn't be better than that. And it is fairly short. My mass market paperback copy that I have at home is like 96 pages long. There are some illustrated versions out there in the 129 page count range. And it's a really enjoyable read. And next, once again, I do not have an actual copy of this book. I have a picture of the cover for you. So next, and it's along the same lines as Winter Tales, it is Nordic Tales, Folktales from Norway, Sweden, Finland, Iceland, and Denmark. And it's a collection of 17 stories. And once again, under the title, it's going to tell you what country the story is originally from, and there will be a source page with explanations of where the author got the stories from. Each story has a full page illustration along with it, and the book is divided into 3 sections: transformation, wit, and journeys. Some of the stories will be completely new to you. Some of the stories will have different characters, but they will be very similar to stories that you have already heard and loved. If you want, there is a copy in the library system, or you can also read it as an ebook on Hoopla. And there we are. Thank you so much for joining me for our look at winter tales and other books with illustrations to accompany them that are set in the winter. I will be back very soon with what I am reading in January, and I hope you will join me for that and for my January reading next year. Until next time, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read, and I wish you a very happy and healthy